Just recently, an extremely serious allegation was made against Jay-Z in a lawsuit filed a couple of days ago. From a quick and heated response from Jay himself to tons of
Mm-hmm.
fans bringing up all of the weird circumstances surrounding Jay-Z over the years, it can be very confusing to separate facts from theories. So today I'm going to be breaking down all of the formal allegations against Jay-Z, along with his response and the theories from the fans. It all began on December 8th when a lawsuit against Diddy was amended and Jay Z was named as a defendant. If you've been out of the loop for the past year or so, P. Diddy, aka Sean Combs, has been accused, sued, and indicted because of a lot of terrible things. I made an entire video on it detailing all of the allegations against him, so you can check that out if you need to catch up. But put simply, Diddy was allegedly a serial rapist, tried to blow up Kid Cudi's car, and has a laundry list of crimes, mostly sexual, that date back decades. So obviously, if Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, is being named in a lawsuit alongside Diddy, that can't be a good thing. According to CNN, the woman who is identified as a Jane Doe says she was 13 years old at the time she was allegedly assaulted by Combs and Carter at an after party following the Video Music Awards in 2000. The woman alleges she began to feel woozy after consuming a drink at the party and wandered into a nearby bedroom. The woman alleges Carter raped her first, followed by Combs. The woman says she hit Combs and ran out of the party, according to the amended lawsuit. NBC said that the girl was dropped off by a friend at the VMAs, but she didn't have a ticket. Apparently, she tried to find a way to an after party, and a driver who said he worked for Diddy said that she fit what Diddy was looking for. So he took her there, and allegedly she even had to sign an NDA to go into the after party, but she never got a copy. After the incident, the girl ran to a gas station and called her dad. So basically, Jay-Z is being accused of being a 13-year-old girl back in the year 2000. Then the lawsuit said that the woman's legal team reached out to Jay-Z to try and resolve the problem. Jay-Z responded to said letter by not only filing an utterly frivolous lawsuit, but by also orchestrating a conspiracy of harassment, bullying, and intimidation against her lawyers, their families, employees, and former associates in an attempt to silence her. They said that the effort to scare the alleged victim didn't work and they plan to continue with the lawsuit. Also, the reason that all of these lawsuits have been coming out lately, out of New York in particular, is because New York recently extended their statute of limitations. What that means is that a crime that happened a super long time ago wouldn't have been able to be prosecuted, but now since they have a 2-year look back window, you can file a lawsuit. I explained this in my previous video about Diddy because he's got hundreds of suits against him right now, but that's why all of these lawsuits have been coming out lately. The lawyer filing the suit against Jay-Z is also the guy who you may remember announced he was representing 120 new victims against Diddy. He said high-profile names would be named once he had enough information, and I suppose now he thinks he has enough to bring Jay-Z down. This suit in particular was filed back in October, but Jay-Z wasn't named until the other day.
Right.
Instead, he was referred to as Celebrity A. The suit also
Mm.
claimed that another celebrity
No
stood by
wonder.
and watched as Combs and Carter took turns assaulting the minor. Many others were present at the after party but did nothing to stop the assault. The suit also said that Jay-Z has been with Diddy during many of his crimes. And those were the only times Jay was mentioned in the suit, for 4 particular incidents out of the 20-page suit that was largely aimed against Diddy. And for a lot of artists who over the years have built up a ton of goodwill with their fans, you'd think Jay-Z fans would come to defend him. However, because of all these strange circumstances surrounding Jay-Z, a lot of people have been looking at him sideways. The strangest thing about this whole situation is that back in November, when the attorney filing this case, Tony Busby, announced that he was representing 120 newly alleged victims, an anonymous male celebrity sued him. About 3 weeks ago, an unnamed plaintiff, who turned out to be Jay-Z, was suing Busby and his firm. He accused Busby of shamelessly attempting to extort exorbitant sums from him, or else publicly file wildly false, horrific allegations against him. Jay's
Right,
lawyers
right.
claimed that Busby sent Jay a demand letter in which he threatened to unleash entirely fabricated and salacious allegations of sexual assault if Jay didn't comply with their demands. This does sound fairly suspicious and definitely sounds like extortion, which,
Yeah,
if you didn't
it
know,
kind
in
of
this
it
case
does
is
for
just
real.
threatening someone with legal action if they don't give you money. However, Rolling Stone did consult a legal expert and they weighed in on this. According to the expert, this is somewhat common, and they said, you have a right to represent your client and demand that a potential defendant pay money to compensate your client. But you don't have a right to say, if you don't pay, I'm going to report you to the
Right.
authorities. I think that's the really clear line. That's civil extortion and not protected by the First Amendment. So Busby
So Jay-Z can take action and really sue them back just off that alone. You know, he could get some money back and whatnot and somewhat clear his name. But what if the allegations are true? We'll see.
On one hand is saying that these demand letters are common and it was just a way of keeping things private, whereas Jay-Z and his legal team are saying that it was just extortion. In response to the at the time anonymous lawsuit, Busby took to Instagram to release a statement. He said, "I've been sued in Los Angeles in a last-ditch attempt to stop me from revealing names in public lawsuits. The case filed against my firm is not only without legal merit, it is laughable. Here's why. On behalf of two clients who alleged sexual assault, we sent a standard demand letter to a New York lawyer that we know represents an alleged perpetrator and potential defendant. The letters were sent seeking a confidential mediation in lieu of filing a lawsuit. No amount of money was included in the demand letters. No threats were made. The demand letters sent are no different than the ones routinely sent by lawyers across the country in all types of cases." So this whole extortion thing and the lawsuits flying back and forth makes this pretty complicated. And right
Mm-hmm.
now it's basically a he said, she said situation because us general folks don't have enough information to come to a good conclusion of what actually happened. We don't know what exactly Busby said in the demand letter, and we don't know all of the information that Busby has against Jay-Z. So all of this makes the lawsuit situation all the more complicated, and Jay-Z was forced to respond swiftly. After all of this went down and the lawsuit hit the news cycle on December 8th, Jay-Z responded within hours with a statement on the Rock Nation Twitter page. He said, "My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. These
Mm-hmm.
allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would
Mm-hmm.
commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. I have no idea how you have come to be such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby, but I promise you I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type. You claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity. My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand inexplicable degrees of malice to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to the true victims in the world, who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You have made a terrible error in judgment in thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake physics, will believe the idiot claims that you have levied against me that, if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable." This was the original version of the post from Jay-Z, which was quickly deleted to add this last sentence, in which he
Mm.
said, "I look forward to showing you just how different I am." So Jay-Z's response was also ran as an ad on Twitter, which was definitely kind of strange.
Yeah,
Although
right.
some
It
people were
was an
saying that he
ad.
was just trying to
I thought it
spread
was
the
just a
word and
regular
make his name.
message.
After this came out, a
That's
lot of
crazy.
fans pointed out what Busby said weeks ago, and it really became a whole debate of whether or not this whole situation was just extortion. But like I
Mm.
said, it's really hard to call anything right now because we don't know what
Seems
Busby
like both
said, we
sides
don't know
playing the
what
game on
Jay-Z
this
said
one.
or what he did, so
This
it's
man,
hard to come to a conclusion.
how
A
is
lot of
that
people
statement a
also thought the
response an
addition of the
ad?
last line, "I look forward to showing you just how different I am," was a pretty devious thing to say. And then just yesterday, Jay-Z's lawyers motioned for the defendant Jane Doe to reveal her identity before proceeding. This is the first legal action we have seen publicly from Jay-Z in this case, and in the motion for the plaintiff to reveal their identity, Jay's lawyers said, "For months, an extortionate campaign has been targeting Jay-Z under cover of darkness. That campaign was cynical and calculated to force payment of an exorbitant sum of money. Jay would have to pay X millions of dollars irrespective of the truth or else." They also alleged that Busby tried to shut down Jay-Z's defense, So Jay's lawyers are calling for either the accuser to reveal her identity or for the allegations to be dismissed. Basically, they were saying that no facts had actually been provided, and this was just Busby's way of trying to use his high profile Diddy case to extract money from other celebrities, and if they didn't pay, he'd destroy their reputations. Also, in a few of the recent cases against Diddy, the judges have ruled that the anonymous plaintiffs would also have to identify themselves, so it's
Hmm.
possible that that will have to happen here as well. Quick little editor's note. While I'm filming this video, Tony Busby tweeted out, "The New York Times contacted me to ask for my response to rapper Jay-Z's allegation that I tried to extort and blackmail him. My response is pretty straightforward. No one has made any threats. Jay-Z's assertions are bogus and laughable. Instead, our firm has sent a standard demand letter seeking a mediation on behalf of a woman who alleges
Hmm.
Jay-Z sexually assaulted her as a minor. The letter was vetted and approved by our client, whose preference was to attempt resolution short of filing a lawsuit. This approach is common in these types of cases. What you are seeing played out now is a coordinated and desperate effort to focus the public's attention on me personally to avoid attention on the allegations being made by my clients. This effort has included harassing my family and colleagues and even offering former clients money to sue me, which is illegal. When an alleged perpetrator behaves in this manner, wildly asserting that a basic demand letter is extortion and aggressively using the media to attack the opposing lawyer while at the same time ignoring the allegations being made by the alleged victim, it reminds me of a famous line from Shakespeare: "The lady doth protest too much, methinks." We intend to address all of these issues with the court in due course. Let me be clear, we will not be bullied or intimidated by these shenanigans, and our clients won't be silenced. Meanwhile, Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Blue Ivy are at the premiere of Lion King, so
Hmm.
I guess they aren't too bothered. If you thought
Right.
that was complicated, well, the case gets worse. The
Hmm.
lawsuit is coming from the lawyer I mentioned, Tony Busby, and a lot of people online have been claiming that he isn't the greatest lawyer. Now, I'm going to say right now, before I dive into this, I'm no legal expert. I cannot tell you if he's good or bad, but I
Hmm.
will tell you a few of the reasons that people have issues with him. For one reason, he's done a ton of high profile cases. For example, cases against BP, Deshaun Watson, and Travis Scott. However, I did look into the Deshaun Watson and Travis Scott cases, and many of those were mostly settled confidentially. Another reason people don't like Busby is because he's a
Yeah,
Trump
Bugs be
supporter,
looking
which
for a
I don't want to
money
hear anyone
grab.
break down. And Tony Busby was also the lawyer who announced the 120 essay cases against Diddy that I mentioned earlier, and then he held a press conference to tell people about it. As many of you know, our law firm has been at the forefront of some of the most important litigation in the United States. We like the tough cases. We thrive in the complicated cases. We've handled over the last 25 years some very big and very important cases. I believe that this one may surpass them all.
Hmm.
The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names.
Hmm.
It's a long list already. Of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved. They will be revealed when that particular individual case is ready to be filed. They already know who they are. And I'm talking here about not just the cowardly but complicit bystanders. That is, those people that we know watched this behavior occur and did nothing. I'm talking about the people that participated, encouraged it, egged it on. And a lot of people have
Hmm.
looked at this one of two ways. The first being, wow, he's brave to go after the big fish. And
Right.
what he's saying then lines
That's
up
what it
perfectly
seems
with
like
what's
for
happening
real.
now. And the other
Because he was
perspective
talking
is
big
that this guy
too.
is really big on theatrics and kind of pushing his own name. I mean, to be fair, I didn't see any other lawyers against Diddy holding whole press conferences for 30 minutes. And Jay-Z himself thinks that Tony Busby is pursuing attention and wealth. He does own a real estate firm and
Hmm.
is fairly
He
wealthy, which
probably
you can
is.
see all over his social
He's
media. And
already
he
deep
also
in.
ran for office a couple of times in Houston, both unsuccessfully. I looked a bit more into this and I found out that a lot of people in Houston aren't too big on Busby. According to a few hundred people on Reddit, Tony Busby
Hmm.
misconstrued his success as a lawyer who litigates against large companies as some kind of higher call to run for public office. He would just be a wacky, larger than life River Oaks lawyer if he'd kept it to that, but instead decided to insert himself into things Houstonians did not want him for. To be fair, though, he did get 28% of the vote the first time running for mayor
Mm.
and 41% the
Whatever
second
he's
time running
doing
for
is
council.
working
So it's not like
because
everyone hated him.
he's
And I
gaining
say all of
traction.
this just to
People are
say
actually
it is
listening. So
possible that there are
on
good
his end,
reasons
that's not
people
bad.
don't
It's
like this
good.
guy,
You
and it
know,
is
and
possible
I
that
know the
Jay-Z
money's
is
coming
right
in because
about
he's
what he
getting
said in
some
his
type of
response.
clout.
However, it's also just as possible that Busby is fighting the good fight for the victims. But on top of all of this, there's also been some shady foreshadowing going on when it comes to people like Diddy and Jay-Z. Originally, after everything came out about Diddy, people began looking sideways at Jay-Z, especially
Mm,
since he was so quiet. 50 Cent even said, if
yeah, a
anybody's
lot of
seen
people
Jay,
been
love
saying, "Yo,
sitting
why
in
Jay Z
Jay
so
under his own."
quiet?"
50 also said in an interview that a lot of the celebrities who aren't
Mechanics
speaking
always
out like
too was
he
getting
is
at
are
Jay
probably
Z.
scared since they were involved.
You have something huge coming up, which is a documentary about P Diddy, Puff Daddy, P Diddy.
Yeah.
Did he do it right?
Yeah.
Yo,
And
Fifty
you've been heavy
man,
on social media talking about
50's
it.
the troll of the century, bro. I swear.
Vocal about this long before it actually.
Oh, you've been saying this for a long time now, and then no one was, they're just, why is he saying this? And now it's coming out like crazy. I mean,
But I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to the party.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture, if you don't understand anything, is because they participated. So
I went over all of this in detail on my last video about Jay-Z and Beyonce, but I'll break down the main things that apply here. First of all, people thought it was strange that Jay-Z met Beyonce when she was 18 and started dating her when she was 19 because he was 31 at the time. And the second main thing that people have pointed out is Jay-Z's connections over the years to R. Kelly and P. Diddy, who are two known sex offenders. Diddy and Jay-Z have been friends since the 90s when they were both growing up in the music industry. They even collaborated on a track in 1997. On top of that, these two were also connected to Aaliyah and R. Kelly, who were married when Aaliyah was only 15.
Yeah, it goes back
Dame Dash,
far.
who co-founded Rockefeller Records with Jay-Z and dated Aaliyah when she was of age, said he thought it was morally wrong for Jay-Z to do a collab album with R. Kelly when he did. Dame said, "It's morally wrong to do a project with someone that we know, my girl, or anybody for that matter." He also said Jay-Z tried getting at Aaliyah too.
And then, I guess Jay was trying to get at her as well. And I didn't know. And then, it got brought up, and I was like, fuck both of y'all. But it never worked out for them. And we were both like trying to get at her. I kind of eased up, but then we ran into each other. It's a long story.
So you and Jay was both getting at Aaliyah. Obviously,
Everybody was getting at Aaliyah, bro.
Right.
Nah, I bet.
So there was
Aaliyah
undoubtedly
was
some
something serious.
shady stuff going down in their circle, as Jay-Z was friends with P. Diddy and R. Kelly. And it's possible that Jay-Z knew about some of the stuff that was going on. Things got even more complicated when, about a month ago, Piers Morgan had a guest on named Jaguar Wright, who's a singer who's worked with Jay-Z. And he had her on his show to discuss the Diddy situation. And it was on this episode that she brought up Jay-Z and Beyonce's involvement.
Yeah, she was talking in that episode.
Spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which
she said a mouthful in that episode, but
and that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail, get his lick back. Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there.
Yeah, they'll never cross-reference. They'll never cross-reference for real.
I did see a few articles that said Jay-Z declined to be interviewed for the show. Jaguar also said in this interview that Jay-Z and Beyonce are a nasty couple who do nasty things.
Have it be a situation that you lose money.
I want to tell you a little bit about Jaguar Wright. In my previous video, I mentioned that Jaguar has made a ton of crazy claims, many of which have gone nowhere. So I wouldn't count on her to be the most credible source, although she has gotten some things right. But it's also possible that she does know something.
Nah, bro. A lot of stuff she's been saying been coming true, or it's been found out that it is like accurate. You hear me? Because once we first hear what she says, it sounds crazy and it sounds obscene and it sounds obscure and whatnot. It's because we're not in that world. But from what's going on, it's starting to like be very clear that the majority, hear me, or at least half of the things she's been saying has been right. You hear me? And who knows how deep that rabbit hole goes. You hear me?
Reddit said it pretty well when they said she might be right about some of the stuff regarding Diddy, but I'm guessing a lot of it was already known in the music industry. And even a broken clock like Jaguar Wright is right twice a day. Regardless, following her interview on Piers Morgan,
She didn't write
Jay-Z and
more than
Beyonce's
that.
lawyers reached out to
Way
Piers.
more
They
than
said
that,
Piers
actually.
Morgan's irresponsible broadcast filled with lies is so far over the line that a legal ultimatum was warranted. Nobody acting under the guise of journalism can elicit outrageous statements from exploitive situations in an effort to drive clicks and not have to answer for that. Because of this, Piers Morgan actually apologized and trimmed the segment from his show.
Well, last week I
Yup,
interviewed
you can't do
Jaguar
that
Wright,
cross-reference
the
without it
singer-songwriter,
affecting
who's
the
made claims
money.
about Diddy for
And that's what it
years.
is.
Those claims had all received a lot of
You know what I
attention
mean?
in the media across many platforms
The handlers
for many years. And that's the
came
thing
and
about
spoke to
platforms.
him. You know
The
what I
reality
mean?
of the modern world
And now he has to
is that pretty much
apologize,
everyone's
talking
a
about.
platform.
I thought this show was called Pierce Morgan Uncensored. So I guess you are censored because you had to come on and apologize. If it's uncensored, you don't have to apologize. There's no apology needed. It's uncensored. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy to me that, even these people acting as if like they're for the people, and I'm here to tell the truth. I'm here to like really go in and take that risk. Nah. When their handlers come and tell you that you need to backtrack and you need to start blowing a different whistle, you're gonna do it because the money's tied in. You know what I mean? The money's involved.
Because they have something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invited her on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire at a crowded theatre,
Right.
there are legal limits on us too. We apologize to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Again,
Nah, I
there are
bet.
two main ways to take this.
Yeah.
One, Beyonce and Jay-Z didn't want crazy, disrespectful misinformation like this on the internet, or they really did what Jaguar was saying.
But if it ain't
and were trying to
true,
keep it quiet.
like the saying says, hit dog holler. Sometimes if it ain't true, you don't gotta like go at a person or threaten them with legal actions and whatnot. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show you that something is hitting, something is coming down. That like a lot of people is about to be shook up with this.
Regardless, this only made the situation bigger, and around this time, Jaguar Wright also went on Real Life Productions for another interview. She again stirred the pot and made an hour's worth of more huge claims, and also spoke on the theory that Jay-Z and Beyonce were involved in the death of Aaliyah.
I want you to think about this. Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane.
Yeah, I remember when she was talking about that.
As punishment for rejecting him.
That was an eye opener when she was like, "Yo, can't you see?
Level up Beyonce, who was struggling.
Jay-Z's lining them up." I'm